Hi there. We didn't come up with this quote, "Nobody knows anything." That was a guy called William Goldman. Goldman, dead now unfortunately, was a Hollywood screenwriter. He worked on great films like Butch, Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He also wrote an enormously entertaining memoir about his times in the movie industry called Adventures in the Screen Trade. And then he followed it up with another book on a similar theme called Which Lie Did I Tell? And that should give you some idea of his irreverent attitude to the business he was in and life in general. One of the most famous quotes to come from those books, probably the most famous quote, is this one: "Nobody knows anything." And the emphasis in that quote should definitely be on the second word, knows. Because he doesn't mean it as an insult to everybody everywhere. He's not trying to say the world is full of idiots. He's trying to say that nothing is absolutely certain. You can't be sure of anything. So Julia Roberts, yes, she was Erin Brockovich. Yes, she was the pretty woman. But she was also in Mother's Day. No, I'd never heard of it either. And John Hughes, he may have written The Breakfast Club and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but he also wrote Drillbit Taylor. Ditto. Goldman was talking about movies, about his world, but nobody knows anything is a principle that applies to all walks of life. Here's another guy with something useful to say. This is Tim Harford. He's the presenter of the BBC's More or Less podcast. He's also the professor of something immensely clever, but I forget exactly what. He resists the temptation of saying nobody knows anything, although every week in his podcast he does come up with example after example of politicians and, yes, marketers who seem hell-bent on proving that they at least don't know anything. So a while back in his podcast, he asked the question, what is 48 plus 27? Now, he wasn't particularly interested in the answer. Remember, this is a podcast for statistics nerds. He was fairly safe in the assumption everyone was going to say 75. What he wanted to know was, how did people work out the answer? Now, some people did it the old school way. 8 plus 7 is 15, hold the 5, carry the 1. 4 plus 2 is 6, add the 1, 7, 5, 75. Other people rounded up the 48 to 50. 50 plus 27 is 77. Take away the 2 you used to round, back to 75. Other people rounded up the 27 to 30. 48 plus 30, 78. Take away the 3 you rounded, back to 75. And yet other people decided to round up the 48 to 50 and the 27 to 30. 50 plus 30 is 80. Take away the 3 and the 2 that you rounded, so take away 5, you're back to 75. Harford's point was not that this is the answer, it was that there are lots and lots of ways to reach the same answer, and if the answer's correct, all the different ways of getting there are correct too. You just use the way that works for you and your mind. And it's the same in marketing. There are lots and lots of ways to achieve the same goal. If you want your customers to buy more, you could try discounting, you could try emailing them more intensely, you could try a social media blast, or you could try all three and something else as well. If you want new customers, you could try taking an ABM, account-based marketing approach, or you could write in their trade journal, or you could do both and something else. You want a better reputation? Well, you could try running a survey to find out what exactly is wrong, or you could employ a PR agency to spread some positive news, or you could try employing more customer service people to actually improve service standards. Or you could do all three and something else. If there's one principle we stick to in marketing, it's the principle of bothism. This is one of Mark Ritson's principles. Now, I will admit, when I first saw bothism, I thought it had something to do with Ian Beefy Botham, the old cricketer. But no. As the quote shows, Bothism is the principle that you take some of this best practice and some of that best practice and merge it together into something that will actually work for you and your business. Because nobody knows your business as well as you do. And the fact that you're still there means that you're already doing something very right. Our role as marketing support is just to present you with more ideas that could make things even better. Because what we know is that what works for one company might not work for another company in the same business. What works for B&Q is not going to work for your local hardware store. What worked last year might not work this year. Just think of bricks and mortar retail pre and post COVID. And techniques that used to work, that used to be best practice, might not be anymore. Just think about all those poor souls who are still putting "re" at the front of their spam blasts in the vain hope that some idiot actually thinks it's a reply to an email he sent earlier. There are people in marketing, there are lots of people in marketing who are absolutely convinced that their way is the best way to solve any problem. These evangelists are convinced that their solution is the answer to all ills, and they believe their zeal is utterly persuasive. We would urge you to just remember that in marketing, as in other things, nobody knows anything. So when you see, listen to, or read any guidance from Forbes Baxter Associates, you're going to get something different. We're here to present you with options. We're going to tell you about things that have worked and things that haven't worked. We're going to present ideas that will hopefully fire up your imagination and enthusiasm for building your business. And we're going to present ideas that hopefully can be adapted for your business, because the one thing we know for sure is that nothing works every time for every business. So when you're ready to try something new, when one of our ideas strikes a chord with you, you'll find that we always give you two options. The first option is the DIY route. We'll tell you how to do something for yourself, and if you want to follow that option, we're glad to have helped. The second option is the assisted option, where we come in with marketing support and do it for you. In that instance, we're here to help. So, whenever you're ready, give us a call. We're surprisingly friendly.